Hello students, this is Rashmi Vishwakarma, Assistant Teacher of Nisangram High School. Today we are going to discuss our part 4 video of Control and Coordination of Class 10 Science. Today's class we are going to discuss about reflex action. Okay? And students, do you know about spinal cord? Spinal cord controls the reflex actions and conducts messages between different parts of the body and the brain. Alright? So, reflex action is a special case of involuntary movement, involuntary organ. So, I have already discussed about involuntary. That means our body do by itself, right? When a voluntary organ is in the vicinity of sudden danger, like if you have seen a snake, that your motor organs are in the vicinity of in the vicinity of danger, right? So, what our mind or our brain used to reflect some messages, okay, and it is immediately pulled away from the danger to save itself, right? For example, when your hand touch a hot electric iron, okay, if you touch the iron which is hot, okay, you move away your hand in a jerk, yes or not? Like sound like, oof, it's very hot, and you immediately remove your hand from that thing, right? So all of this happens in a flash and your hand is saved from the imminent injury. So all of this happen in a second, okay, and your hand will be saved from further injury, right? This is an example of reflex action. All right. So what is reflex action? That is the involuntary movement of a involuntary organ. Okay. Let's discuss the reflex action in detail. All right. So reflex arc, it is nothing but the path through which nerve signal involved in the reflex action travels. Okay, is called reflex arc. So it is the path where the reflex action will take place. Okay, it's the path where nerve signal will travels. All right. The follow chart shows the follows of signal in a reflex arc. Reflex arc is nothing but the pathway where the nerve travels, okay, from a receptor. Receptor means the organ that comes in danger, okay. Receptor means the organ that receives signals from any external materials, okay. So the pathway will be like this. First, have a look to the diagram. At first, receptor will touch, that receptor is in, there is skin, okay. So it is coming in contact with a hot pot, okay. So immediately the hand or the receptor will send messages, okay. You have to send messages through sensory neuron to the spinal cord, okay, to the spinal cord. It is called central nervous system, okay. And then the central nervous system of the spinal cord will send messages, okay. There is one neuron that is called relay neuron which connects the sensory neuron to the central nervous system, that is spinal cord, and to the motor, and from the from the spinal cord to the motor neuron. Okay, so the message that receptor sending will be passed like from the receptor to the sensory neuron, and then relay neuron, and then motor neuron, and at the last effector. Okay, so the relay neuron from the spinal cord, it will send message. Okay, from the spinal cord, the relay neuron will send message to the motor neuron, and then the motor neuron will send message to the effector. Have a look to the diagram. Effector is equal to muscles in your arm, okay, where the further action will be taking place. Okay, the receptor in the organ which is in danger zone. Okay, the sensory neuron pick the signal from the receptor, and then it will send to the relay neuron. The relay neuron is present in the spinal cord. The spinal cord sends signal to the effector through via motor neuron. Okay, the effector come in action. Okay, the effector has to come in action by further move the receptor away from the danger. The reflex arc passes at the level of the spinal cord, and the signals involved in reflex action do not travel up to the brain. Okay, the signal which comes to the receptor is directly from your spinal cord, not from your brain. Because this is important, because the sending signal to the brain would involve more time. So to save the time, okay, immediately your spinal cord will act upon it, or your spinal cord will send message, okay, instead of your brain. All right, so it's clear now, reflex arc, right? Though every action is ultimately controlled by your brain, that every action is controlled by our brain, right? The reflex action is mainly controlled at the level of spinal cord. Protection of brain and spinal cord. The brain is protected by fluid-filled balloon which act as shock absorber and enclosed in cranium box, that is cerebrospinal fluid, I have already discussed. And the spinal cord is enclosed in vertebral column. Next we have to discuss is the muscular movements and nervous control. Okay, muscles tissue have special filaments. Okay, your muscles tissue have some special filaments called actin and myosin. Just have to remember, this actin and myosin are the filaments which is present in your muscles tissue. So their function is to, when a muscle receive a nerve signal, okay, when your muscles receive any nerve signals, a series of events is triggered in your muscles. Calcium ion enters the muscle cells. So there will be, when a muscle cell receive any nerve signal, a series of events will trigger in your muscles. That is how a calcium ion will be entered to your muscle cell, and then it results in the actin and myosin filaments sliding towards each other. That is how muscle contracts. If you touch any hot pot or anything like that is very, very, very useless to your body, that at that time you have to remove your hand, and for that your reflex action will be worked here, right? For this, your muscles have to move muscle have to contract, and then only you can remove your hand, right? So how your muscle will contract? At first, calcium ion will enter to your muscle cell. In the results of that, your actin and myosin fibers will sliding towards each other, okay, and your muscle will contract. And contraction of your muscles bring movement to the related organ, okay. So have a look to this chart diagram. At first, muscles, okay, at first muscles will change in shape and arrangement of protein, okay. Muscles is nothing but protein arrangement, okay. That arrangement will be change, okay. That after change in shape, it will contraction will occur, and then muscle will shorten. That muscle will be shortened. And then action, information collected by nervous tissue from your sensory nerve, okay, and then it will move to the CNS or the central nervous system, and then it will proceed to the information will proceed by the central nervous system to the decision made by the to the motor nervous, which is the decision made by the central nervous system, and it will act on your effector, that is your muscles, to pass to the to remove your hand, okay.